Hello, everybody. It is the 26th of February, 2024, in the afternoon. Late start. I had to work part of the day, and I've only got a couple of hours, so I'm just going to get started on the next phase of my gas tank cleaning. Several people asked me about what I was using chemical-wise and everything. I've mentioned before, but I probably need to do just a separate video that's specific to cleaning the gas tank. But I'm using a system made by KBS, and it comes in three different bottles. One is a cleaner, which is what I'm going to start using today, KBS Clean. And then there's this is called the Rust Blast. This is what will be used after it's cleaned to get rid of or neutralize the rust that might be left after cleaning. And then it will etch the metal to get it ready for the last step, which is the tank sealer. Um, and then this stuff needs to dry up to 4 days after it's been applied. And this is the one that's probably most sensitive to temperature. Got to be at least 55 degrees consistently and warmer. So I'm probably going to bring this thing into my living room and let it dry out for the 4 days in there. I don't think it's supposed to be toxic. Oh, wait a minute. It does say flammable liquid and vapor, so maybe I won't be able to do that. So I may have to rethink that step. I may have to wait for consistently warmer weather for several days or figure something else out. But anyway, one of the things with the cleaner, the instructions implore me to be patient. Don't rush any of this or you'll regret it. There's a nice little instruction sheet that came in the box too. And one of the most important parts is what I'm about to start right now, which is the cleaning. As you already know, I did take this to the car wash last night, and I washed it out as best I could with high pressure soap and water. And I got a lot of stuff out, and I'm also going to continue working on using my little wire brush to get it inside as best I can. And they also suggest using a strainer, so I made a makeshift strainer in a brand new bucket here with a clean, relatively clean t-shirt to drain it out each time and then reuse the cleaner as a way of keeping it going. They also suggest that you put a chain in there, like a bicycle chain, and just kind of rotate it around as you got the cleaning solution in there. And they also say to use hot water, mixing it 1-to-1 with the cleaning solution that comes in the kit. And then you just keep rotating it. You can also let it sit for up to 24 hours in a particular location if you got some heavy-duty sludge or deposits in there that need to be removed. I guess you're not really seeing my face. Sorry about that. Maybe you don't need to see my face, but anyway. So this is something that I'll stick in the hole here, and it'll be interesting. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm watching videos about it, and they have great. I like this company, even though I haven't used their products yet. They got great videos out there. Anybody can go look at them at any time. It's called kbs-clean.com, I think is their website. Um, there's also some rust on the outside in certain places. I don't think it's particularly bad, but I am going to go ahead and use my wire brushes to just kind of clean that rust off that I see on the outside too. And when I do the tank sealing part, the very last step, I'll save a little bit to slather on the outside too, on the areas that had some surface rust, just to make sure there's no possibility of leaks there. As far as I know, this tank wasn't leaking. It had 10 gallons of old gas in it, and it doesn't appear to be leaking. The other thing that I was concerned about is this filler tube. Although I guess I probably don't need to be too concerned. Most of it doesn't get in the gasoline. Maybe none of it does. I don't know. I don't know exactly how far in it goes. So I've already cleaned the outside part of this, and I did some cleaning on the inside. The only part I'm really concerned about is right in here. There's some surface rust there, and you really can't get to it very easily. So I'm just going to take some real small little tools and do my best to just kind of scrape that off a little bit, and maybe I can let that soak in the KBS Clean solution too. Maybe that'll help get that loose. Like I said, I don't even know if I really need to worry about it, but any rust that I can see like that, I'm going to at least attempt to address it. So I also took a look at inside here. It sat in my shed overnight. There's still some water in here. I was hoping it would be a little drier than it was, and it definitely made a difference. But there's still plenty of stuff on the walls in there, plenty of rust and whatnot. So this step is definitely important to continue cleaning it and whatnot. So it's probably going to take me a couple days. I've only got 2 hours today to work with to start with. and I'll see how many times I can cycle through, straining a couple times and reusing it, and hopefully I can get it fairly clean, or at least clean enough where it'll be acceptable. So I'm going to get started right now just by using my wire brushes on the outside, clean up some of that rust I see on the outside of the tank. So after running the drill and my little wire brush over the surface a little bit, I decided, you know what, it's probably better just to go over the whole thing and just paint it afterwards, because I don't think leaving bare metal like that is probably the greatest of ideas. Getting dust all over the place here, I see. But anyway, so I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'll just continue and go over the whole exterior. Man, it should be nice to do the interior too. I see why this one company called Renew It, I think it was, something like that, that does gas tanks, actually cuts them open. I can see why now. If you really get a nice surface when you can do that. But I'm not doing that, of course. So I'm just going to keep going and just go over this whole thing on the outside and get it cleaned up, and I'll eventually just paint it. I don't know if I really need to use the sealer or not. I imagine I can paint over the top of it if I do choose to go that route. There was something else. Oh yeah, I wanted to point out too that I'm gonna sacrifice part of one of my knee pads here to just cut out circles so I can tape them on with duct tape, because you have to seal this thing up when you have the cleaner inside there just sloshing it around. So I'm gonna do that too once I finish with the wire brush out here. All right, so I wore one battery out, just kind of went over the entire exterior, tried to concentrate on the areas where there's some obvious surface rust, but even where there is surface rust, it doesn't appear to have gone all the way through the skin, so I definitely don't think it was leaking. But I will paint over it. Either I'll just use the sealer if there's any left after I do the inside of the tank, or I'll just paint it, some kind of rust inhibitor or whatever. So right now I'm getting ready to cut out a couple of circles here to seal up these openings. All right, it's not a perfect circle, but it'll do the job. And I'm just going to put some duct tape on there to secure that. All right, you can see how that looks now. My seal on the side here where the ascending unit goes is nice and permanent. Well, not permanent, but it shouldn't leak, or if it does, it will be minimal. So I can't obviously seal the other hole where the filler net goes until I put my chain in and I get my mixture in. It's supposed to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'll pour this entire bottle into the tank with my funnel there. And then I'll come back and I'll use this bottle to fill it up with hot water. I think I'm actually going to boil or at least heat up some water on a stove, because they say the hotter the water, the better it'll clean. So I'll take them to heart. So I'm going to unpack my chain now and drop it into the hole and get things ready to receive the cleaner, and make some room on the table, because I'm going to have to slosh this thing around too for a while. I find this fascinating that putting a chain is supposed to help. It makes sense to clean things off. So I'm going to drop my chain in there, my brand new chain. I'm going to, I'm going to pour the contents after I wipe that funnel out a little bit. I'm going to pour the contents of this cleaning solution concentrate in there, and then I'm going to go inside, get some hot water, and fill the bottle up with that. So it'll be a 1-to-1 at that point. Oh, and I meant to mention that I made the other plug ahead of time too. So when I put the solution in, I can quickly tape that on with some more duct tape and move on. All right, I'm ready to go now. I just brought out some hot water I had on the stove. Should be quite a bit hotter than tap water would be. Glad I read the directions again. It says to shake this stuff well before you use it. I'm wondering if I shouldn't mix it up separately in a clean bucket rather than just pouring that in the tank directly. I think that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, I'm working on the fly here. Run back and get a clean bucket here to mix the stuff in. Then I'll pour it into the tank, the gas tank. I bought 3 brand new buckets just for this project. I'm definitely making use of them now. This is really critical or not, but I want to make sure I follow the directions as closely as possible. So, as you already saw, the chain's already inside the tank waiting. So I'm going to pour this in here. And reading the cautions, it turns out this stuff is pretty caustic, so I got to be careful with it, the way I handle it. Just splash it everywhere, get it on my skin, whatever. All right, now I'm going to fill this up. Hopefully I have enough hot water here to do this with. I think I do. If not, it might be a little bit too strong. Oh, there it comes. Okay. Boy, that looks like that's going to be just about perfect. Okay. So now we'll pour this in here. Oh yeah, that's good and hot. Look at that steam. That's almost too hot. But the hotter the better, according to the instructions I read. So I'm just going to slash this around a little bit, mix it up. Doesn't say you have to stir it or anything, but all right, now I'm going to pour all this in the tank and seal it up. It occurs to me I'll probably use this bucket now as my straining bucket instead of that brand new one that I have the t-shirt on right now, since I've already got the solution in here. No sense in dirtying another bucket unnecessarily. I'm sure it'll get dirty soon enough. Interesting how it foams up. All right, set that aside. It would take a while. I should have brought something to push that through. I wasn't expecting foam like that. Maybe I can just push it in there. I want this to work. I'm trying to get the maximum amount in there that I can. Huh. I'm not sure what to use to push that in there, if I even need to worry about it. Have any more water left? I got a little bit of water left. There we go. Now we get most of it. All right, I guess I'm not going to worry too much about the foam that's left. It's in there. Now I'm going to cap this off with my little plug here, just like I did on the other side, and it was easier to manipulate that tape without gloves on. Should have already had these off. These suckers are expensive too. I try to reuse them when I can. Come on. I probably need to use the fast forward feature when I'm putting this video together so you're not bored to tears by some of this. All right. All right. I think the other plug is going to work better than this one, but that's all right. They should hold most of it in there. I should have done a better job of fitting this into the hole, I suspect. One more strip should do it. All right. Set as it is. Hopefully that'll hold. Put these back on. Although I probably don't really need them now. Get myself a little workspace here. I might need that later. I don't know. Probably don't want to put that in there. Okay. And now I'm going to be the human rotisserie and sit here and shake this and rotate it to get that fluid and that chain moving around in there. Oh boy, I could see my plug, it didn't do too well. So I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna lose all my cleaning solution anyways. Yeah, as I thought, the one on the back here works better as far as plug, being a plug. I'm gonna lose a lot of it if I'm not careful. And that sucks. All right, so I'm not gonna bore you to tears with watching me be the human rotisserie, so I'll keep that going for a while as long as I can stand it. All right, I've been at this about 20 minutes, I think. I ended up having to redo both openings because they were both leaking a lot of fluid, so I was losing all my cleaning solution. We're barely getting started. So what I did is I took them both off, trimmed them more like corks, and they're kind of stuffed in there just tight enough, and that seems to be doing the trick. There's no more fluid getting out now, so I'll just have to decide which of the two that I want to open back up when it comes time to drain it and refill it. But I've just been rocking it back and forth with the chain inside, and I sure hope it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. I'm probably just going to leave it sitting here overnight. I mean, that's not going to hurt anything. And it says for tough deposits, that's probably the thing to do. So I'll orient it. Not sure if I should put it upside down or right side up. I don't know where deposits are more likely to be after sitting for so long. I have a feeling that the stuff that was still submerged in the gasoline is probably better shape than the stuff that was above the fuel line sitting in the tank, which means up here is where there's going to be more rust and scaling and stuff. So I think I'll leave it sitting kind of on that side and hope I don't leak too much out of that bottom hole there, which is the filler tube hole. So that's my thought anyway. In the meantime, I'm going to rock it back and forth some more, shake it some more. Give me a good workout, I'll tell you that. Since the instructions say patience is key, I think what I'm going to do is after I rock it back and forth a few more times, I'm just going to leave it sit for an hour or two and rotate it again, and then I'll probably just leave it that way overnight and continue it on tomorrow morning. Well, I just discovered that this cleaner is good for something besides cleaning. It turns out there's a hole. I was wondering where this liquid was coming from. It's coming from this area right here. I don't really know what happened, how it's leaking, but there's a definite leak right here, and this is on top of the tank, so it probably would have gone unnoticed. Um, I guess I can continue on and hope that the sealer does its job and seals that little hole up. I'm sure it's small. It's part of that wire system that was on here earlier. I don't even know what that's for, what the purpose of that is, but it's definitely leaking somewhere right around here. Okay, I'm a doofus. That is apparently some kind of a vent. I didn't know that. So when I pulled this off the car originally, I must have broken it because I was just pulling these things off. They were held in place by these clips. Apparently that's some kind of a vent. I didn't even know that was there. So now I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do about that. I hope that doesn't mean, I got to replace the tank or something. I got to get that wire now and see what's up with that. Oh, I definitely learned something new today. Apparently it's not broken. This is where it came from. It looks like it was just a sleeve, a connection right here. And this just looks like some kind of a vent. I mean, it was just sitting kind of mounted like this. I don't even remember where the other end of that was. I don't think it was connected to anything. I think it was just sitting there. So I don't know. I guess it's some kind of a secondary tank pressure release, safety thing or something. I don't know. I really don't know. I never noticed that before, realized it had a function like that. But so I'm not concerned about it now. I'll just put a little vacuum plug over that right now to seal it up, and then eventually I'll replace the sleeve. What I thought were other sleeves aren't sleeves. They're just spots where you put the clips against. So the smallest diameter vacuum tubing that I have, which is 7/64, fits around that nice and tight. And I used a vacuum plug on the end of that, and this little hose will end up being my connector on the vent line when I put that back on when I'm done. All this time, I thought this was some kind of a support wire. I had no idea it was actually a vent line. I'm curious too, because the new tanks I've seen online, I don't think they have this little vent on top, so maybe it's not even necessary. But I'm certainly not going to remove it or disable it or whatever. Just something new I learned. Okay, so the instructions for this stuff implore me to take my time, that this is the most important step of the whole process, cleaning the tank. It says you can't have a tank that's too clean. So I'm going to take my time, like it says. So like I said earlier, I'm going to leave it sitting just like you see it for the next 45 minutes. Then I have to go somewhere. So right before I leave, I'll rotate it in some other direction to let it soak in a different spot. And then in the morning, and maybe I'll get up a couple times in the middle of the night too and rotate it. Who knows? But anyway, um, then in the morning, I'll continue on. I'll continue to shake it and rotate it, and then I'll drain it out, see what we get out of it, and maybe do another round or something. See how much of the fluid I actually lost before I was able to seal the holes up properly. So that's it for this update. Thank you.